Amazing, folks. So today we are playing with anterior chain, and we got a puppy that's joining us. I can't compete with a puppy, guys. There's nothing I can do about that. If you want to focus on the puppy, awesome, go for it. I'm going to be doing some sports stretch here though. So we're going to rise up onto the balls of the feet and then back down onto the heels. That's it. Everyone suddenly stands up. Well done, folks. So rising up onto the balls of the feet and back down onto the heels. So the reason that I always start like this is because we are playing with the plantar fascia. Plantar fascia on the soles of the feet runs all the way up the backs of the calves, hamstrings. It actually skips the glutes and then runs up the side of the spine, into the shoulders, onto the back of the head, and actually finishes at the forehead. So just by finding this really simple movement here, we're starting to release tension and get all of that kind of unsticking all the way up that back line of the body, posterior chain. And then we're going to start to get into the sides of the feet. So you can bend the knees, kick the knees soft, and just start to come to one side and then the other. And see if you can shift the weight inside arch, outside arch of the foot, and just find a little bit of movement side to side. And ultimately, we're just trying to get everything a little bit unstuck. So you might have spent your day in the same sort of shape for a while. You might have had quite a stressful day and not even realised your shoulders are kind of crept up. So this is a really good way just to kind of help to loosen everything. Then we're going to draw little semicircles. Little semicircle in one direction and then a semicircle in the other. And with all of this lovely movement, we're looking to find our range of movement rather than mine. I will have slept differently. I'll have had a different breakfast to you. I'll have changed my body into different movement patterns throughout the day. So we're looking to find copying the movement rather than the shape. So coming down into stillness. So let's bring the chin to the chest and we're going to roll down. So rather than coming down like that, touching the toes, we're going to roll down, chin to the chest, find your shoulders, find the mid ribs, keep the knees soft. This is not about, oh my goodness, what is my hair doing? I'm glad that's immortalized on video. Coming all the way down as far as we can. Doesn't matter how far that is. And then we're going to roll all the way back up. I didn't even know my hair could do that. What is going on? So fun fact, guys, I used to have straight hair before having kids. What is that about? Chin to the chest, rolling down. And that's why it's still, I'm trying to get used to it, still does things, mad professor style, that I didn't even realise were a thing. So we're coming down as far as we can and then rolling back up, head heavy, shoulders heavy. And then let's do one more. So coming all the way back up, chin to the chest, shoulders, mid ribs. See if you can move the spine in order. None of the bits of the spine moving ahead of the others. Oh, that's good. And then we're going to bend into the knees. We're coming down to lying on our backs. You can do that with as much control or as little control because you're at home and no one knows. But we're going to end up lying on our backs here, folks. Soles of the feet onto the floor, and you want to be able to feel the heels with the fingertips if you can. This is a pelvic tilt, so we're just finding a tiny, tiny movement into the lower back, almost like you had your hands underneath your back and you can squash your hands down. So as you breathe up, I'm going to lift my top up a little bit so you can see. Exhaling, lower back into the ground, breathing in back into neutral, not kind of trying to arch, just finding a neutral spine. Exhale, lower into the back, breathing in back into neutral. Tiny, tiny movement. Lower back down and then back into neutral. Nice. We're going to change that. Lower back into the ground and then peel through the spine, coming all the way up towards the shoulders and then placing the spine down in order. So we might be used to doing a bridge where we lift the hips. This time, lower back into the ground, rolling all the way towards the shoulders. Seeing if you can roll through the spine in order. So coming from the lower back, mid back, ribs, all the way to the shoulders, and then shoulders, ribs, mid back, lower back, and hips. Let's go for one more, just getting everything nice and oiled up like WD-40, going the whole way through the spine. Nice. Next time that the hips come down, let's walk the feet a little bit wider away from one another, both knees towards one side, and then back into the center, both knees towards the other side. Good. So what we're playing with here is sending the spine in as many different directions as possible. So if at any point you think, oh, I really need to do a bit of a stretch, but I don't know what I should do, rewatching the first 5-10 minutes of one of these videos is going to send your spine in basically all the different healthy ranges of movement that's available to it. Really good little kind of mini warm-up or cool down. Hands can come onto the knees. As you breathe out, draw the knees into the chest, breathing in, knees away. Breathing out, knees into the chest. Breathing in, knees away. Nice. Last one, lower back into the ground and then pressing away. We're going to come up to seated. You can roll to the side, or number one reason to become a yoga teacher is you get to do this as your job. Hands behind the thighs, and you can do a little bit of a rock and roll. Either way, we're ending up in the same position. Yes, guys. I love it. Underrated movement of the day. We're going to end up seated. Doesn't matter what your legs are doing. Don't need to be sat like this. Not many adults tend to sit like that, let's be honest. We're going to find some more movement into the spine. So I'm sitting a little bit diagonally so that you can see. I'm bringing my right hand down, left arm lifts, and I'm reaching over. I'm over rather than down. So I'm pressing into that bottom arm, ribs lift. Back into the center, and then reaching over, pressing down into the bottom arm, lifting the ribs up. Nice. And then back into center. Let's go for another couple. Hand comes down and you press into that bottom hand. This is what I meant when I was talking briefly at the beginning before I started recording about functional movement rather than Instagram version. So the Instagram version might be over here, but actually you're really targeting the muscles deep into the sides of the ribs, the obliques, much more when you're making a smaller, more concentrated movement than when you're making an enormous one, but not actually kind of engaging into those places. Let's find a bit of extension and flexion. Hands onto the knees. We're going to round back. Find that space between the shoulder blades and then find the opposite of that. So we're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together. Breathing out to round back and then breathing in, shoulder blades squeeze together. Nice. Last one, rounding back and then squeezing shoulder blades together. Really good. Last main range of movement available to us in our spine in this position is rotation. We're going to lift up, turn the ribs towards the side, and then the hands can come down. Nice. And then breathing in back to the center, turn the ribs towards the other side, and then the hands come down. Now, the reason that I say ribs rather than turning or twisting is often when we twist, we just move the shoulders, we forget about the rest of the spine. When we turn the ribs, you'll feel it much more deeply into the mid-back rather than just up into the upper shoulders, the thoracic spine. Good. From here, hands can come down, spread the fingers wide, full octave on the piano or an enormous handful of Maltesers, whatever's going to be more motivating, and the knees underneath the hips. We're going to find a little bit of a shift from side to side here. So I like doing this because basically from the age of about 18 months onwards, we don't really do much crawling around on all fours. And then we come on to this sort of thing and wonder why our wrists don't feel very good. So this is a good way just to wake up the wrists. Again, copy the movement, not the shape. I am hypermobile, so my body bends in a little bit further than lots of people, less than others. So copy the movement, not the shape. Good. And then coming back into the center. Any discomfort into the hands, you can bring the forearms down, and we can do all of this without being bent into the wrists. From here, let's follow the breath. So as we breathe out, lower back, mid-back, ribs, shoulders, and head release down. As you breathe in, see if you can reverse that. So again, what we're not doing is just dropping, hinging into the middle. We're seeing if we can move from one end of the spine to the other. It is really hard. I find it really hard. We're not used to using that spinal articulation, which is exactly what we're doing. We're used to moving the spine as a bit of a block. And when we're not used to doing stuff, we lose the ability to do it. But each vertebra is capable of moving independently. We just forget to do it. Nice. Last one.
Moving independently refers to the ability of individuals to live, work, and...
Oh my goodness. AI is trying to jump in as well. I don't think your book's on AI. I don't need a definition of that. Thank you. So from here, let's bring the sit bones towards the heels. So we're either coming into a kind of child's pose, or if that's uncomfortable, into the hips or the knees or the ankles, you can do the same shape, bringing the forearms down, keeping the hips above the knees. Each one is awesome. It doesn't matter which version you choose. Let's bring both hands over towards one side and find a stretch. So what I'm doing here, my hands are over towards the right and I'm bringing my left hip back. So I'm getting a lovely deep stretch into the left side of my ribs. And then let's take our time to come back into the center. We'll do the same on the other side. So both hands towards the other side, sending hips away from the side that you're stretching into. Nice. And then back into the center. Well done, guys. From here, if the hips are back, fantastic. We're bringing the forearms down. If the hips are up, forearms can be down. We're going to see if we can just move upper back. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and then separate the shoulders. So last time that we met, or you might have found a recording, we played a lot with our shoulders last time. So there's lots of this sort of thing. If the hips are back, elbows into the knees, rounding back, squeeze shoulder blades together. The lovely thing about doing this with the hips back, if it's possible, is that the hips aren't able to move then. So we're not getting that overcompensation into that space. Fantastic. So from here, let's find our way up to standing. And we're going to, I've got an imaginary mat. I don't use a mat. I don't know if you guys at home are using one, but I'm going to walk to the top of my imaginary mat. And I'm going to get a little bit more of a warm-up going on. So as I breathe in, reaching the arms up. And then reaching the arms forward as I breathe out. Nice. Hands can come down. We're going to step both feet back. Good. Knees can come down, belly to the floor. Slide the elbows forwards and then lift into the chest. So I'm not coming into my lower back here. I'm getting that upper back to join in. Hands towards the shoulders. Press back and find a downward dog. I like to move. I like to find a little bit of movement through from one side to the other. Ultimately, what I'm doing in sports stretch is trying to unstick, and I'm not going to get unstuck by just getting stuck again. So finding a bit of movement through from one side to the other, pedaling through the legs, shake the head no, nod the head yes. And then we're going to look at the hands and take as many steps as you can. All the way up to the hands, hands to the shins. Good. Look forward slightly, so nice flat back, and then coming down. Press into the feet, lift tall, hands to the sky, and then hands back down towards the side. Nice. Let's keep going there. Breathing in, the arms lift. Breathing out, reach forwards. Yeah, hello hamstrings. Hello. Hands can come down. Let's bring both feet back. Find your plank, super strong. Knees up or down, doesn't matter. We're going to end up on the ground. So with your knees down or with your knees up, belly to the floor. Let's bring the forearms forward. So mine are quite far forwards in front of my elbow, in front of my shoulders. And then lifting up through the chest. So I'm getting that nice space between the shoulder blades starting to wake up. Hands back by the shoulders, tuck the toes under, please. And we're going to find our way back into our downward dog. And again, we can move here. Fingers are spread quite wide. Another little tip here is to bend the knees. So bring the belly, almost like you're trying to rest your belly on your thighs. So you're focusing on length through the spine, rather than, can I get my heels down? And then often we end up rounding to be able to do that. Let's look at the hands, take a load of steps all the way towards the top. Once you've got towards the top, hands to the shins, and then easing down. Good. Pressing into the feet, lift tall. Fabulous. And then hands back down. Really nice. We're going to go for another one. So arms lift and then down. This time stepping left foot back, left knee down. Keeping left hand down, twist towards the knee. Good. Really good. Back into the center. and then twist away from the knee. Let's go for one more on each side. So twisting towards the knee, and then twisting away from the knee. Good. From here, hands can come down, and then we're going to press into that front big toe to rise up. Another example of how this isn't like Instagram version. Instagram version might be like super lungy, really bendy. I'm getting quite a deep stretch into the front of that left hip there, but I'm going to get an even better one if I press up and then scoot my tailbone down. I get a much deeper stretch there, even though it doesn't look quite as fancy on Instagram. I'm going to lift. So same side hand as the knee that's down, left knee down, left arm up, and then start to reach across. So keep that scoop down, reaching across, so I stretch. Nice, back, reaching up, reaching up, reaching up. Keep the tailbone tucked under, reaching over. Nice. Checking in with that front big toe. So notice if the knee is kind of having a bit of a party on its own. Lifting up, scoot the tailbone, press into the front big toe, a lot to think about, you're doing great. And then back into center, fantastic. Hands towards shoulders. Scoot the tailbone under, so it's a little bit of a movement forwards. Twist ribs towards one side, back into the center, ribs to the other side. So again, not kind of big movements here. I'm not just twisting my shoulders, I'm getting my ribs to do that movement. Nice. One more on each side, back into the center, breathing out to find that rotation, back into the center, breathing out to find the rotation. Fantastic, guys. Both hands down. Tuck the toes, down dog. Really nice. Look towards the hands. We can step, we can walk, we can jump. And rising, hands towards the shins. Good. Forward fold, please. And then rising up. Good. Hands back down towards the sides. We're going to go for one last one on that other side. I come this side so that I'm facing the right way. So reaching up and then bend into the, soften the knees as you come down. This time, right foot back. Right knee down. Twist towards the knee, please. And then back into the center. And we twist away from the knee. Let's go for another one on each side. Twist towards the knee. Good. And then back into the center. Twist away from the knee. Nice. Both hands down. Press through the front big toe and we rise up. Again, not super lungy. Scoot the tailbone down. Nice. You can have that back toe tucked under or you can have the foot flat. It's going to feel different. So have that conversation with your body. Not better, not worse, just different. So from here, same side hand as the knee that's down. Lifts. Right hand up, right knee down. Scoop the tailbone under. Side reach. Nice. Breathing in, reach, reach, reach up towards the ceiling. Scoot the tailbone and then find that side reach. Nice. Check in with that front big toe. Reach, reach, reach. Scoot the tailbone and side reach. Fantastic. Hands towards the shoulders. Turn the ribs, not the shoulders. Ribs turn. Back into the center. Ribs turn to the other side. Nice. Let's go for two more. Breathing out to find that rotation. Keep the tailbone tucked under. Back into the center. And that second side. Lovely. One more for luck. Breathing out. Breathing into the middle. And breathing out. Fantastic. Hands can come down. Tuck the toes under. Press back downward dog. And again, reminder, we want to have a little bit of softness into the knees. You can exaggerate that to bring the belly to the thighs if that gives you a little bit more space into the shoulders. Fingers spread wide, full octave on the piano. We are going to step or walk or shimmy, it doesn't matter. Bring the feet towards the top where the hands are. Fantastic. Hands towards the shins. Nice. And then forward fold. And then reaching all the way up towards the sky. Brilliant. There's our warm-up done, folks. So we're going to move through some functional standing. Let's bring that right leg back. Toes turning out, check in with the knees. Knees will probably be going inside the big toes. Lift up the thigh, so hand to one thigh, gentle movement. I'm not doing anything crazy, just like a little gentle movement, encouraging the thigh up to the ceiling. Now when I bend my knees, they're going to be a little bit more in line with my middle toes. So let's breathe in to lift up. Breathing out, elbows wide. Yeah, nice. Breathing in, lifting up. Breathing out, press into the big toes. Good. Let's go for one more. Nice. From here, hands can come down. If you've got a coffee table, if you've got a lovely yellow velvet armchair, you can come onto that as well. So hands can come down, this time toes in slightly. So heels out, toes in. And we're going to find that rotation to one side. Lovely. Back into the center. You can use the corner of your bed to rest onto as well, wherever you are in your house. Let's do 3 on each side. Nice. Good. Last one when you're ready, if you're not there already. Nice. I'm going to change position again. So this time I'm going to bring my right toes and point them out towards the side. So I've got my left toes staying where they are, right toes pointing forwards. Right hand onto the leg, hand can come down, and I'm going to sweep up. Nice. Hand coming down, keep that knee soft, sweeping up. Good. Last one, hand coming down, sweeping up. Perfect. Let's bend into that right knee. Right elbow can come onto the knee. Top hand reaches away from the back foot. Nice. If we find that the arm's in front, it can feel much better to bring the hand onto the lower back. That's going to find that rotation rather than twisting forwards. Good. From here, back heel is going to lift and we turn the hips. Nice. Hands towards the shoulders. Good. Little mini dip. I can see, oh, there's like a tiny fairy guy. Little dip coming down. Nice. And then last one. Good. Hands reaching away. Strong through that front knee. Keep a little bit of buoyancy there so you've got that lightness. Hello, calf muscle. Hands in towards the chest. We're going to twist towards that front knee. So I'm bringing my left elbow onto my right knee. I'm going to turn around so I'm not being antisocial. Nice. So what I'm not doing is kind of dropping down here. See if you can use that elbow onto the knee. Another option is to stay more upright and to bring that hand onto the knee, other hand to the lower back as well. That might be a nice option to explore. From here, we're going to bring that back foot to join us. Nice. And then rising up. Oh, I tell you what, ladies, I'm glad it's not a ridiculously hot evening. Whew, that'd be silly, wouldn't it? We're going to do the same on the other side. I've changed direction so I'm staying facing towards you. This time, left foot steps back. So our sumo squat. Check in with the thighs, just give them that little bit of external rotation. Breathing in to lift up, breathing out, easing down. Nice. Strong through the legs. Breathing in and breathing out. Nice. Last one. Perfect. Hands are going to come down. Toes in, heels out. This is where you might find a chair, you might find your bed, coffee table. Hand towards the sky, doesn't matter which one. Back into the center, twisting to that second side. Let's go for one more. Nice, guys, really good. Lovely. This time, left toes turn out. Left hand towards the left leg. Keep that knee slightly soft so I'm not kind of locking out into the joint. To encourage that rotation through the ribs, hand can slide up and away. So this is a twist rather than a forward fold. Hand can come down. I haven't got really any weight into that bottom hand. Just helping me to kind of go, oh yeah, that's what I'm leaning away from. Good. Last one. Unraveling. And then we bend into that front knee. Good. Elbow can come onto the knee. Reach the arm across the side of the ear. Remember, lower back is our friend as well. That can be a really nice option to keep that top shoulder up. Back heel is going to lift up and turn. Nice. Coming into our lunge. Drop that back knee to a hover. Breathing in to come up. Nice. Easing down towards a hover. Hello, psoas, you wonderful thing. Hello, glutes. I've forgotten all about you. Nice, last one. Good. Reaching the hand actively away from that back heel, seeing if you can get a bit of a straight line going on. Maybe, maybe, maybe. Hands in towards the chest. Let's find a twist towards that front knee. So it'll be right elbow onto the knee. Good. Or again, you can have the hand onto the knee or the hand to the lower back. Let's bring that back foot to join us. Good. And then we rise up. Amazing, team. So that is our functional standing. The reason that I point out these different bits is so that if you want to revisit them, or you start to get familiar about the pattern in which we do things, you can kind of see how we can chop and change these things as we go. So that can only mean one thing. We have our stability coming up. So today we're going to do stability lying down. The reason that we play around with stability in our sports stretch is because often when we're moving our bodies day to day, if we've got different endeavors that we're exploring, different sports that we do, movement patterns that we make, our stability is really central. It's really, excuse the pun, core to that. So we often think about our core being here, but we want this whole area between the shoulders and the ribs to be stable so that as the rest of our body's moving, doing whatever it's doing, this bit is able to stay super strong. And that's what we explore in our stability. One of the ways that we do that is through the breath. So if we think about the breath like a pressure chamber underneath the diaphragm, and then we've got all these fantastic muscles that wrap around, transverse abdominal muscles, oh my goodness, rectus femoris muscles, rectus abdominal muscles. And then the muscles down the side of the spine. And then at the bottom of this little pressure chamber, sides, top, and then pelvic floor is at the bottom as well. So we want to get that whole pressure chamber to be activated while we're moving. We can use the breath to do that. So there's a type of breathing that we use here that if you've done any kind of weight training, it will be similar to that. We don't want to just brace the muscles into the front of the belly, so and leave the rest behind. So it's not that kind of bracing movement. We want to take a breath in, and then as we breathe out, it's that. So it's almost like you're corseting the muscles around the sides in. Now I've just engaged those muscles. If I press into the side of my ribs and into that space between my ribs and my hips, I can feel that they're activated. I'm still able to talk. I'm still able to breathe. So I'm not just kind of bracing into the front. That's the muscles that we're going to be using here. So we're going to lie down on the back. We were here not that long ago. Might feel like it was, but it wasn't that long ago. Lower back comes onto the floor. Play with pelvic tilts a little bit. That massively changes what happens in that pressure chamber. As we breathe out, lower back into the ground. Breathing in back into neutral. Breathing out, lower back into the ground. Feel how the muscles around the core start to wake up and into the glutes. That's what we want. Back into neutral to release. Last one. Exhaling, lower back pressing into the ground. Nice. From here, we're going to recruit those muscles. So breathing in, breathing out, like you're firing everything up. You can check into the sides of the waist. You should feel that they're a little bit, not just the muscles in the front here. Hands can come towards opposite shoulders. So from here, lifting the shoulders only. Nice. Breathing in, back into neutral. Exhaling, lifting shoulders only. So I'm not trying to do a crunch here. I'm not looking down at my tummy. Seeing if I can lift my shoulders and my head. These are the upper oblique muscles. And then easing down. Let's go for one more. Breathing in, breathing out. Fire those muscles up and then find that lift. From here, we're going to find a bit of a squeeze, diagonal squeeze. Rib towards opposite hip. So I'm bringing my right rib towards left hip and then back into the center. Left rib towards right hip. Squeeze, that diagonal squeeze back into the center. So what I'm not doing is twisting, finding that twist from side to side. It's that lifting up and then like a tiny, tiny squeeze. Rib towards the hip, back into the center. Tiny, tiny squeeze. and then back into the center. Nice. Again, not impressive on Instagram, but we should be able to feel that quite hard into those upper obliques. Let's bring the hands towards opposite shoulders, repattern, so breathing out, lower back into the ground, and then we're going to lift right knee above the hip. Nice. Lowering right foot down, with control, left knee above the hip, and then lowering it down. So we're starting to get that sense of drawing the ribs towards the hips. So what I'm not doing is just kind of tapping, lovely as this is. My lower back squeezing into the ground and really controlled. So I'm seeing if I can move without anything else moving here. As someone who is a little bit hypermobile, my whole body at this point is wanting to go, it's okay, I'll take over, and just kind of swing around. So I'm having to work really hard to engage those muscles to minimize movement as the weight shifts. Option, both knees lift, lower back stays into the ground, hands towards opposite shoulders, please. Tapping foot down, breathing in back into the center, exhaling, tapping foot down. So again, I'm not just kind of flailing around, really controlled. Those of you guys who've done Pilates, this is straight out of the school of Pilates, all about that core stability. Nice. Let's go for one more. Good. When you've done the same amount on both sides, let's bring both feet down, drop both knees towards one side, back into the center, both knees towards the other side. Now at this point, folks, we're going to come into our anterior chain gliding. So from here, we're already on the floor, we're going to roll to lie on the tummy. If you need to reposition yourself so you can see the screen, go for it. We're going to start off. Oh, there's a tiny post-it note hiding my stick man. So we're going to start off by lifting the right foot, send it a bit further down. Lifting the left foot, send it a bit further down. I'm going to have my head up so that you can hear what I'm saying, otherwise my voice will get a bit muffled. But it will probably be much more comfortable for you guys to have your forehead resting down. So let's get the right hand towards the right ankle. And then from here, scoop the tailbone down. So the aim of the game is not to try and bring the foot towards the hips. It's to scoop the tailbone down, flex into the foot, and to feel that stretch across the front, the anterior chain of the right thigh. So we're saying, hello quads, how are you? Nice. Let's hold that for one, for two, and for three. Really good. Let's bring that right forearm down and swap to find the left ankle. If the heel easily comes towards the bum, then you can flex into the foot. Again, the tilt of the pelvis is going to change this. Scoop the tailbone down. Start to draw that foot away. And we're holding for one, for two, for three, and then down. Nice. Let's bring the feet and drop the heels out to the side. When we're dropping the heels out to the side, that's going to switch off the muscles into the legs and into the lower back as well. So it's a nice thing just to kind of help to rest that space. Next thing that we're going to come to, again, slight difference here from what you might be used to. Lots of the time you're told to keep the feet together here, particularly in yoga, if you've done any yoga. Actually, what we want to do is have the feet a little bit wider because that's going to mean that our glutes take over. We're using these fantastic strong muscles on the back line of the body rather than just dropping into the lower back here. So hands are going to come down, backs of the hands to the ground, please. And then looking down towards the ground. Let's see if we can press into the hands and then see if you can draw the hands towards the feet. So what I'm looking for here is to find the shoulder blades squeezing towards one another. The moment I feel it into the lower back, I come down a little bit lower. So again, we're copying the movement, not the shape. All of us will come into different variations of this shape. And then let's release down. Let's go for one more like that. So sliding the shoulder blades away, hands sliding down. This is thoracic extension. So we're isolating the muscles into the shoulder blades to get that movement here. Nice. This time hands coming like a little cushion underneath the head. Forehead can come down. Options here. So you can do this with the forearms staying down, and you find that lift up. You can even kind of resist into the forearms a little bit. Again, see how you feel with this one. Another option is to lift the hands with the head, almost like you're super glued. You don't want to try and come up too high here, otherwise you'll feel it in the lower back. We're again getting into the muscles in the upper back to stabilize and strengthen here. Let's go for one more. Easing down, pressing into the tops of the feet and lifting up. Nice. Good. From here, hands can come down. Let's tuck the toes under and press back. We're finding a downward dog here. I'm walking forward so you can see me against all of the books on my shelf. Nice. Let's bring the knees down, keep the toes tucked, and walk the hands back. We're coming to high kneeling. Really important here is the tilt of the pelvis. So if I do this movement without having the glutes engaged, I'm going to kind of start to just sink my weight back a little bit. I want to see if I can scoop my tailbone forward so my glutes are the muscles that are stabilizing me here. Hands can come towards the shoulders. Keep the toes tucked under. That's going to give you a little bit more to resist against. And we're going to start to ease back. Nice. Strong to come back up. Nice. Keep the tailbone drawing forwards. Easing back. And then coming up. Really nice. So, showing my age, we can channel our inner Keanu Reeves, Matrix style. Nice. And then coming back up. Fantastic. We'll try that with the feet flat. Scoop the tailbone. So again, it's that pelvic tilt, hands towards the shoulders, easing back, using the strength in the legs to come back. Really good, guys, doing brilliantly. So keep the tailbone scooped under. Nice. And then coming back. Fantastic. Let's bring that right foot forwards. Placing the ribs over the top of that right leg. Nice. Hands can come down. Tuck the back toes under. Lift that back knee. Think about drawing the head forwards and the heel back and sinking the weight down through the center. So this is a psoas stretch. So we're feeling that into the front of that left hip. Keep that back knee lifted. Keep the hip sinking down. Nice. Keep looking forwards. Good. Really nice. Let's bring that back knee down. This time we are going lungy. So rather than scooping the tailbone down, this time we're going to draw the hips forwards and see if we're going to lift up. So I'm lifting up as high as I can rather than kind of collapsing into my lower back. So I'm lifting up like I can telescope the ribs, ease the hips forwards. Nice, good, good, good. Keep breathing, guys. Lovely, keep pressing into that front big toe. Beautiful. Let's swap the legs. So I'm going to bring the other knee forwards. Bring the torso over the top of the thigh. So it's a little bit of a twist before you even start. Hands can come down. Tuck the back toes under. Lift through that back knee. So we're having that conversation here between lifting the back knee and dropping the hips down. And then see if you can draw the heel away from the head whilst keeping the hips down, whilst lifting that back knee up. Oh my goodness, so much to think about. But isn't our psoas amazing? This is hello right hip, how are you? How you doing? Right hip flexor, you're the best. Nice, let's bring that back knee down. Again, strong through that front big toe to lift up. Think about lifting up rather than dropping back here. So we want to lift up through the ribs, super, super strong. I think this might have been a picture that I used for the on the group today. Reaching up. Lift the ribs almost like somebody could hook underneath the ribs to lift them up a little bit more, and let the hips ease forwards as we do that. Nice. Keep breathing. Nice. So we're looking for space rather than this sense of kind of squashing. Really nice. Last one. And then hands can come down. Beautiful, guys. Awesome. From here, we are going to find our way onto our backs again. Feels like a good place to do our little wind down shape here. So fingertips towards the heels. So you've got the heels in quite close towards the hips. Again, rather than lifting up through the hips, see if you can roll through the spine. So we're rolling up bone by bone. From here, either palms flat to the ground or the hands can interlace underneath the hips. You might start to walk the shoulder blades towards one another. Pay attention to what happens in your feet here. So if you turn the toes out slightly, you might find that you get a little bit more space here. So again, this is a stretch into the anterior chain, the whole of the front line of the body. But the way that we're getting that stretch into the front line of the body is through using strength in the back of the body. So it's our glutes that are helping us here, which is where turning the toes out can help us to find just a little bit more space. Nice, let's find one more breath. See if you can keep that lift. Really nice. And then unhook the hands, shoulder blades back onto the ground, and then placing the spine down, bone by bone. Nice. Folks, that's the end of our whistle-stop tour of our body this evening. So if you want to stay on the ground, I won't tell. Your secret is safe. I'm going to stop the recording now. Thank you so much for joining me. Stop recording.